Ladies and gentlemen, I was hoping this video would be maybe farther out in the future, but we've already had 2 snowfalls already. So every winter I get many patients coming into my office that have injured themselves shoveling snow. Today we're going to go over 7 tips that can really help to protect your back this season when you're shoveling snow so you can avoid some of those injuries. What most people do is they're sitting down, they're on the couch, watching the news, it's snowing, they go straight from the couch outside and they start shoveling snow. Yes, it feels like we have snow year-round here in northern Montana, but it's probably been a little bit of time since we last shoveled. So those muscles that you use for shoveling snow, they're deconditioned. You know, they're weak, they're tight, they haven't been used in a while. So the first tip that I'm going to tell you is you want to warm up first. I know that sounds silly to warm up to go shovel snow, but it's really going to pay off in the end. So jumping jacks are great for this sort of thing because it's going to get your heart rate up, it's going to loosen up your muscles, you're moving your legs around, you're moving your arms around. Shoveling snow is a full body workout, as you know. Do some stretches. Stretch your hamstrings out, stretch your shoulders out. Once you're limbered up, get your clothes on or your jacket and everything, and you're going to be ready to go start. Tip number 2 is you want to make sure you have good grip on your boots. Too many people slip and fall down when they're out shoveling, and then that's a really quick way to get injured. So if your boots aren't grippy, you can always buy those ice cleats that you can just strap onto your shoes or your boots. That's going to give you a lot of grip. You're not going to fall down with those on. So that can really help out. Now, tip number 3 is you want to make sure you have the right sized shovel. Bigger is not always better in this case. In fact, if the snow is wet, if you didn't get after it right away, if it's deep, a big shovel, that's a lot of weight in the scoop. What you want to do is you want to minimize the amount of weight that's in the scoop that you're going to be lifting. So a big shovel is really good if it's nice light snow and you can just push it around. If you're going to be doing scooping, you want a smaller shovel that's fairly lightweight but strong so that you're not putting too much strength into it every time you have to scoop it. Which brings me to number 4. Push the snow as much as you can. You know, if you can stay right behind the shovel and just put your weight into it and walk along the sidewalk, you're going to really minimize the bending and the twisting. That's really what gets you. They've done a lot of studies, and bending, flexing your spine forward, and twisting, that's what puts the most amount of strain on those discs in between your vertebrae, your intervertebral discs. That's how you're going to rupture a disc or bulge a disc. So you want to avoid that as much as possible. Pushing behind the shovel is going to help you to do that. So the next thing is when you do have to scoop, because that's inevitable, make sure you're using your knees. Once again, so many people, they get down with their back, they lift, and they twist. Yes, you have to scoop, but you don't have to do it that way. So what I recommend is use your knees and your hips wherever possible. Come right down low with your knees, get your hands close to the scoop, and lift like that, and then just dump off the snow. Try to avoid hinging at the low back. That's number 5, which means I skipped one. Don't wait. I've said this a million times. Hey, I'm not going to go out and shovel until the snow's done. Once it's done falling, then I'll go out and do it. Why would I want to go do a job 2 or 3 times when I could just go do it once? That's the same rationale when I go to the grocery store and I think, maybe I'll carry all 12 bags in and a gallon of milk and maybe some dog food. Take 2 trips. When you're shoveling, same thing. Don't wait till it's 2 feet deep and it's wet and people have walked on it. Stay on top of it. Once it's been snowing for 20 minutes and you've got a few inches, go do that. That snow is going to be light, most likely. It's not going to be packed down. It's not going to be too heavy for your scoop because you can get right down to the bottom of it and you're going to be able to push most of it. You know, just stay on top of it. Go out every 20 or 30 minutes while it's snowing, of course, depending on how heavy the snow, and minimize the scoops. And this kind of ties into tip number 7, but take your time. You're not in a hurry. you shouldn't be in a hurry. That's when people get hurt, is when they're in a hurry. Once again, this is something you might not do very often. It's maybe something you haven't done in a long time. Take a break if you need to. Take your time. Put on a good audiobook. When you're in a hurry, that's when those muscles are going to tire out quickly. They're not going to be able to support your low back, and that's when you're going to get injured. The main areas that are going to get injured when you're shoveling snow is going to be your low back from that bending motion, and then also that pain that people get right behind their shoulder blades. People tell me a lot, hey, I have shoulder pain. And when I do an exam, oftentimes it's rib pain. And people can really irritate ribs when they're doing that twisting motion, starting a lawnmower or shoveling snow. We could talk about that on another video as far as what I do for that shoulder pain. But those are 7 tips. Use them in the comments. If you've got any extra tips, let everybody know and see what these can do for you this winter.